And next, Southern Girls in Motion. Yay.
Questions?
Got more questions and more comments because
Watch out for
as
them.
soon as I saw that building, that was my uncle's building, Clark Bashir, Clark, and Louis Franklin, Charles Simons.
And you know how they always drink coffee?
And I was down there and very familiar with the building. And,
They're drinking coffee down there.
so I'm glad to see it being used. And I made a lot of notes, I don't want to dominate this by any means, but have you contacted or worked with any other business that has been in business for a long time that really could help you with a lot of the mistakes that you've made and help you to avoid those mistakes? And it wouldn't have even had to be a related business.
Hayes' Hardware in Dawson Springs, Scott and Penny Stein.
Sure.
They've helped me a lot. They gave me a list of, and I know again this is terrible, but it's the day we live in, the no-no checklist.
Sure.
They helped me with that. And he's kind of helped me in things that I need to be thinking and what will work and what will not work. But again, it's two completely different businesses.
It doesn't matter.
But
because
some basics are
they
the
got the
same.
same problem.
Right.
You know, like when you mentioned your inventory, you gotta replace it. Do you keep track of what sells and what doesn't? Because every business has got, yeah, I think this is great, it'll sell. You set it there and it sits there and you think you're selling it every time it sells once in a while, you think, well, it's worth stocking. But if you turn it once a year, it's not where it's tying up your money and you're not making anything off of it.
We put it on
Keep track of
clearance and
the
get rid of
things
it.
that are moving, replace those and get rid of the things that aren't.
Anything that's not moving, we put on clearance and get rid of
Sure.
it and
Get
get it out of
something
there so I
back
get
out
room
and
for
go
something
on,
that
yeah.
will sell.
Yeah.
And that was a big advice for my CPA. He told me that. He said, don't
Yeah.
keep anything too long. If it doesn't sell in a couple of months, get rid of it and get something that will.
And as far as the people that say, gee, I didn't know you were here, don't let that bother you. We have been in business 40 years. Still get it. Still get it.
Well, that makes us feel better, doesn't it?
Yeah, that'll happen. And my response to that is always, that's my fault because I didn't let you know about it. I didn't advertise in the right places. But, yeah, you'll get that when you retire.
It is. It's just kind of frustrating because I'm like, I don't know where to put anything else. I just don't know what else to do short of skywriting, and I don't think they would do that. I really don't. But anyway, you know how the coffee drinkers always drink down there? That's another tradition. We're trying really hard to keep traditions. Mr. Simons is still alive, and he was one of the founders of Berkshire's and Clark. They always drank coffee down there every morning. The men had a table in the back, and they drank coffee every morning. We have hence put the table up front in the window so they can see out the window, and we got their coffee pipe is still there when we opened the store.
Oh my
We had it
gosh.
refurbished for them. And they come down every morning, and they drink coffee. And there's about 4 or 5 of them now, and every now and then there's another one. But that's very important to me to keep that, and Mr. Simons is a very nice man. And whenever the building collapsed, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to do space and everything, they came in there and they were so nice. Or did they take, you want to tell them what they said? Okay. They told Tabatha, they said, if you don't have room for us, we won't come back anymore. You can get rid of that table. We know y'all are trying to find room for things. That's just what kind of nice people they were. And Tabatha's like, we'll keep this table right here. So that was very important to us. And they come down there every morning, drink coffee from 9, they leave at 10. I didn't know there were rules to the coffee drinkers, but there is. They have to be gone by 10. And during the ice storm, this real bad thing, we look up and one of them's got a 4-wheel drive and went and got the rest of them. They all came down there and drank coffee. So it's very important to them. I think their wives like it too, really.
I see you're open on Mondays, yay!
We're open every
That's a
day
big
except
deal.
Sunday.
That's a big deal.
And we have been open from 9 in the morning till 8 at night. Yeah.
Those are real hours, man.
Yeah. Because the tanning beds, that's the hours they need, okay? But we're also learning that after prom season and after spring break, where everybody's got their tan on, that we're not gonna be as busy with those areas. So we are gonna cut back to 6 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock, because we're not having any business during that time. And I think my sanity is worth more than what we're making in that time period. Any more questions?
Have you looked at any Main Street grants or Renaissance grants? Dawson Springs has been amazing about that. Matter of fact, they led the whole Western Kentucky area with the
I
Renaissance
tried, I
grants.
went and talked to other people, talked to Stacia Payton, our former mayor, who is in Frankfurt with Governor Beshears. And I also put the business in just my name, because I thought maybe women I could get, those are no longer there either.
No, they're not.
You mentioned that you started by buying 2 buildings at auction, storage buildings?
No, those
Oh, those buildings, okay. I thought you were looking at, when you mentioned 2 buildings at auctions, I'm thinking, okay, she went to a storage building and bought the building, the contents that,
No, I bought these 2 buildings. They were auctioning them off that day.
yeah.
And I went down there because I'm always about these buildings. I can remember being a child and sitting up on top of that counter and thinking that was the biggest place I'd ever been in. And is this a mansion, you know, kind of thing? Children's ideas. And I was standing there and I kept bidding, and my brother-in-law was with me and nobody else was bidding. And I looked at my brother-in-law and I said, I think I just bought a building. And he looked at me and he said, I think you just bought 2. And sure enough, that's what happened. So, but it has been wonderful. It's a different journey, but it's wonderful.
Scary.
Well, I had a comment. You were talking about the inventory. I had a good friend in Newburgh, Indiana, that was very successful retailer. And he said, the secret to it is if you're in the basket business, you put baskets everywhere. You hang them from the ceiling, you nail them to the support poles. You have them so they stumble over them when they come in. And he said, you just put baskets everywhere there could possibly be a basket, then find another place. I mean, he would just, overwhelm. And he said, when the people leave, they will remember they will remember how much inventory, how many things you had. And that's what brings them back. And I mean,
She kept telling me that. And I was like, nobody wants to trip over all this.
the main difference.
And she kept saying, Tammy, that's what she did, that's what she did. And I was like, nobody wants to trip over this. And sure enough, they did.
It always makes me feel like I want to come back to a place because I didn't see everything. It's true.
That's what it is. And she kept telling me. And, she was right. It tasted like vinegar. But she was right. Tabatha is a lot more knowledgeable on things that will work. And she's proven herself, so I gotta shut up sometimes.
On your advertising, when you go to look at what you're gonna do, one of the suggestions I always give everybody is, when you stop to think about advertising, where you're gonna place it, as in the newspaper or whatever else you were doing, you think about who do you know that uses the newspaper? And you look at whether or not you look at the newspaper. When you go from point A to point B, are you looking at billboards and signs, or is it right there in your face? So you have to look at it from that approach, basically. And so my suggestion always is to get all the emails from right that comes in your store and use that as a base as well as your text messaging and stuff, and say, hey, we've got a great sale on today. Y'all stop by anytime you want to between 9 and 9, whatever it is.
That's a good idea.
And that way you can personalize your marketing for them. And bring a friend and we'll give you a free gift. Maybe just some simple ideas like that won't cost you the money that you've been spending, but they'll be a way for you to grow your business.
Well, when I used to be the softball coach and the cheerleading coach and all that, you could go online and put all the phone numbers in somehow and put your text message and it would send it out somehow. I don't know how that really works. That's a really good idea to get their text numbers and stuff.
It's easy.
Yeah. That's a really good idea.
I want to compliment you on the way you organized your presentation. You've done a great job of, telling us about your business, but your real focus was on lessons learned and mistakes made and moving on. So I applaud that as well as your obvious tenacity.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I did go on your Facebook page and cheat a little bit, but tell me more about the shotgun jewelry. I'm fascinated by that.
We're getting them out of Georgia, right? Is that where we're getting them? It's a grandmother, a mother, and 2 daughters. And they make this jewelry. and it's handmade, all 100% handmade. We had so many people requesting it.
It's spent, like
It
spent
is kind of-
ammunition, is that what it is?
No.
Or spent shotgun shells?
They were doing the spent ammunition,
Uh-huh.
and they said it didn't look as pretty. So this is brand new ammunition. They said it didn't look as pretty, so it is brand new ammunition. It's not the spent,
Okay,
but it is nice.
okay.
But we try, every one of our vendors or our wholesalers or whatever we have, I try to want to know the story with them all. Can y'all tell I keep telling you the story of all that? I really want to know that. Several of the people we do, and they have causes. Like we had one that, I never could say that one syndrome. Rett syndrome. Yeah, all their profits went for that.
Do you have this?
With what I make out of my retirement, the difference, I think so. And I can see us getting better each month, each month. And we've only been open since right before Thanksgiving. We haven't been open a half a year yet.
You have a website?
Yes, but we weren't getting enough hits on it. I mean, I think we had that website up for 4 months, 3 months, something like that. I think we had like 30 hits on it. And mainly, it was people who, when you set up accounts with them, they want a website, and they check it to make sure you're a legitimate business. That's pretty much what it was.
So you're not generating any sales online?
No,
You're not doing Etsy?
that's in the works, but I haven't got there yet.
Because especially with the dog collars and stuff, that's a big,
That would be huge.
that's something that you're generating all the time, and they're easy to ship, they don't cost, they're lightweight, so.
And they have this, Etsy has its own shipping, which is basically it's USPS, but you get a discount. And so it's really USPS. Yeah.
I used to get a
Just
shipping
look
into
into
that.
And it's great.
And, we've got a couple of things we're wanting to do, and that's on my list, but I didn't realize there's a couple of untapped markets that we haven't got into locally that I think would generate more money than that, so we're gonna look into that first. One of them is, it came to our attention a couple of weeks ago, there's nowhere you can rent a DVD in Dawson anymore.
Yeah, but you can do that on any number of Hulu and everything else.
Wouldn't you think? But people don't do it. Certain people, see, things that I do, that's what I think, okay? Because honestly, if I wanted a tanning bed, I wouldn't go to a salon. I'd get me a tanning bed and keep it at home. But people don't do that. And I have found, like, a lot of people just want to go rent a movie. I didn't realize there was that many people that want to do that, because I just download it on Netflix or my DirecTV or whatever I want to watch. But not everybody does that.
You might look into getting one of the Red Box locations there, and
Done that. That's too expensive.
how much is that?
Well, I was told, but. Very.
Okay.
And they told me it would be $25,000 for a kiosk.
Oh, my gosh.
So, no, thank you.
I would agree with that.
But they were rude.
So
So,
that automatically knocks it out.
They're out.
I'm done.
We don't have to play with any people.
I'm done. I'm not gonna pay anybody to meet.
No. Facebook has a new store on it as well, so you can use Facebook to sell items now too. So you need to look into that.
Okay. Well, and I paid for 2 merchant accounts, because there again, and that's very important too. Make sure that your bank and you get that machine set up right and all those merchant accounts. I use a guy, he's out at Clarksville, and my machine broke on Valentine's Day, which is catastrophe for our floors. He came right up the next day, had a new one in, had it fixed. We were rocking and rolling in a matter of hours. Super nice guy. And he did set up the 2 merchant accounts so we can take things through PayPal and all of that. But we just weren't selling anything online.
That's what you just put on, when you do a Facebook notice and say, hey, we got this new product online, you can actually on Facebook add that as a store item, and they can buy it right there, and it'll notify you that it's sold. That's something new Facebook just started.
Okay. I'll talk to my daughter, she does the Facebook, and Tabatha does it. Yes, ma'am.
I missed your presentation. I apologize for
That's all
that.
right.
But this seems like something my grandmother would absolutely love, and I was just asking her, when customers, especially when it's something like this, it's not like a restaurant where, you go once or twice a week. It's, it's something where you go back as needed. but you need to create an experience for your customers. And it's the same with any business, you know. I know when our customers come in here, we want them to have an experience at Brothers Barbecue. Not just come in and dine in with their family, but we want them to have an experience so they'll keep coming back. And I asked her, you know, do you guys have like little tea parties for your ladies that come in? You know,
They have old men that drink coffee.
yeah, and that's great, but you know, are they buying things when they're there? You know, but just something that'll cater to your customer base. You know, if it's little ladies that's buying your product, then create something that caters to them. Whether it is little tea parties or even if you can bake really good cookies and start, you know, just something that creates an experience for your customer, so that when they think of where they're going to go to buy their supplies, they choose to go to your store. So.
We have noticed whenever we first opened and people would come in, the ladies would buy larger sets, but we wouldn't see them that often. We've got them buying smaller amounts and coming in more often now. Because I think they like coming in and seeing everybody.
Yeah.
And like, we've got one lady, she comes in and buys like $3 worth of stuff, like 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Instead of getting the $20 once a week, she comes in like every day now. You know, but I think it's her place to go to, I'm not sure, but anyway, we've noticed that. Yes, ma'am.
People hate to be alone, and when the men leave at 10, could you make something for the girls to be there? Like maybe a meeting table or something where they could come and use that table and visit?
I've invited the ladies to come down and told them that the men leave at 10. If they wanted to come down and have lunch or whatever they wanted to do together. They just haven't taken me up on it yet.
It's more of a lady business you're in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's funny.
The men may be getting in your way.
That happens a lot.
They're not.
Honestly,
Get rid of them. You're not getting rid of the men.
they're not leaving. They're saying,
Let's get rid of the men, no.
Yes, ma'am.
Just saying,
Why don't you try inviting them?
the ladies,
Make an experience, like have a lunch and it's by invitation. And so they get invited and they get to come in and you have people sitting in the front ready by invitation.
We have basket weaving parties, like on Saturdays, we do crocheting, so we do have the women that do come in and we eat lunch and they basket weave and they crochet.
and
But that's usually
advocate,
the
quilting
weekend.
class, and all that. But I do see what you're saying about that. I don't know, maybe we could add a tea or something, like
And a special invitation to just a few the first time, and then invite a different set the next time.
Make it project-based. Have something they're building or doing that's small, so they'll be interested in something new and buy this process as well.
I know a fellow he's in Evansville now, Jerry Wassmer, he was the director of the chamber. in
I just wrote that
Evansville.
down.
And he started his own business a couple of years ago called I'm Your VIP. And he puts a little kiosk, let's say it looks like an iPad, only it's real much smaller. And when a customer comes in, they just type in their phone number. And it stores that, then once a week, or what, on your schedule, whatever it might be, if you're trying to do all these things to talk to people, he will write something and it goes as a text message. And everybody knows that text messages are read almost instantly. And he has tanning salons and restaurants, e-smoke shop, all kinds of local businesses that are really utilizing it, and it's inexpensive. And it's a great way to advertise, and you're going right to the people that shop at your store, the people that have already been there.
Number 9 Steakhouse here uses him, and they, you know, anytime, like if it's a slow night, they'll make an appetizer special and send it out, or like if your store is gonna close early, or I'm sending him a text right now to get in touch with you guys, so.
Yeah, it's great, because I get texts from number 9 Steakhouse saying, hey, 10% off tonight, or supporting the UK basketball team, certain appetizers are half off, but, if you're having your basket weaving, you can say, hey, we're gonna do basket weaving on Saturday at such and such time, call me to set up an appointment, or, you know, you're having a clearance, tell them. It's great. And it is relatively inexpensive.
Well, now that you mention it though, I'm thinking, we've got several people, and I tell them, I said, well, like us on Facebook, and a lot of people go, we on Facebook.
Yeah.
So it would touch that market.
The ammunition jewelry, there's a family in the Evansville area that's making that. And they're doing quite well with what they're doing, so I'll see if I can find out. I'm a Shriner, we have Shriner Fest, they had a booth at Shriner Fest, I think I can locate them through that. But I also see them at the gun and knife shows, they're there, and it's really handsome stuff.
I'd love to give you cards and you can pass that.
Okay, give us lots of cards. Hey, I got some questions. I'm gonna jump in here because I'm gonna, I looked also, I see you have a calendar for your classes. Do you have, like if somebody, do you take teachers to come and teach stuff if somebody had something they wanted to, or that was, you knew that there was an interest for?
I had, I've got several other ladies that come in and teach. I teach basket weaving and the quilting and the applique and things like that. But I am not really good at the machine kind of thing.
Or
So
if there's a request for something?
yeah, so I've got that, and I have a couple of ladies that come in and teach the crochet, knitting, scrapbooking. I've had a guest in. I think that's it. I think so too. I had the lady come in from Paducah to do the Know Your Sewing Machine. Everybody brought their sewing machine in, and then she taught them how to use it, because that was one of the, everybody's got a sewing machine, they don't know how to use it though. So that was kind of one of the first steps we did. And so anyway, this month we're not having classes, which is atrocious, and I'm very upset about it. But between prom and Dawson is having Mule Days, which is a weekend thing.
When is that?
The 25th.
Pretty soon, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be a whole weekend. And then I have someone who's from Dawson, Mark Adams. He's a children's illustrator, and he's got some children that's going to come in, and he's going to do some classes with them. And he asked me if he could have the shop for those few days, and I told him he could. So, and then the Quilt Festival in Paducah. Between that, prom, what else do we have on? Yeah, I mean, between all that this month, there just wasn't room to fit a class in. So, and everybody's awfully busy with vacation, spring break, and getting outside. So I'm just not doing classes this month.
You brought up the, early that you said the Mennonite business didn't work. Do I understand that you were like probably trying to sell them fabric to make clothing, and that just, okay, I wanted to understand.
I had spoken to a few of them about it, and because I'm a very direct person. If I don't know something and I need to know it, I'll go ask. I'm not going to talk behind backs. I'm not going to get secondhand knowledge. I'm going to go ask you. So I knew a few of the people, and I went to Crofton and I asked them. I said, okay, explain to me, because a couple of them had said they wanted me to carry fabric because it's hard for them to get it. And so I went and I said, okay, tell me your religious beliefs. Is there certain things you have to have, and what is it? And so they explained to me, you know, what they believed in as far as that was going. So I made sure that what we got was within those specifications.
But then they really didn't come in and buy it.
And so a single yard to them.
How about that?
They're very much outsiders. My family's from Pennsylvania, and a lot of my friends growing up were Mennonites, and they were the buggy Mennonites. They weren't Amish, they were Mennonite buggies. And once you get established with one family, which is, you know, that's how you get, once they start trusting you, then they'll start doing business with you. But until they trust you, and it's nothing personal, but it's just as a community, until they trust you, they will not do business with you.
Well, I went, what was it, Monday? Yeah, Monday. My daughters and I went to the nursery to get some flowers for the flower beds and things like that. And I went and bought them, and I went to their shop and bought some bread, get my cards. You know, that kind of thing. Kind of went again at it.
But Amish from Marion aren't that much farther away that you might tap in on that.
I don't have a single contact to that community though. I know no one that knows any of them. And from what I understand, unless you have somebody that introduces you into it, it's not going to work for you. That's just my understanding either. But they come through town working on jobs and stuff all the time. And honestly, the way I got to know a few of the Mennonite families that I know is we had the same pediatrician. So we would sit and talk.
Well, I know with Dr. Brett too.
Yes, they do that too.
We've got a couple of minutes left before we end up. So is there anything that we could help you with, or you have an issue with, or a parting comment, or anything like that that you'd like to talk about? And that way, if you have something we might be able to help you with.
The advertising is my big, honestly, insurance and advertising is where my concern is right now. And I've got an appointment with my insurance agent tomorrow. We're gonna sit down and redo some things. And then the advertising is the biggest thing, just getting people to know. But I really like the texting. I really like that idea. And we're gonna work on it.
Any other questions?
Tabitha, you got anything you want to say? No?
I wanted to say, a lot of times we, I was like, I'm always here because I'm one of the organizers. But sometimes I'm like, okay, well, yeah, this will be a cute little thing today, but wow, you all are so much more. I love to, and I had said that, I think to Ginger yesterday, you never know what you're gonna learn or who you're gonna meet at 1 Million Cups. This is amazing.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You wanna close up, or do we have any business for housekeeping? Yeah, if you look at the back of the paper.
That part's very exciting coming up, so make sure it's on your schedule.
We're booking into May already too, so we've got a resurgence of people that are just deciding that they need to come talk to us, so.
Have you changed our format, we're just going to one?
It kind of depends on the situation and the person, and if they have enough that they can fill the whole hour, so.
We're doing educational pieces as well.
Yeah, so.
Some of those.
It just depends, yeah, so.
If it's okay.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming, have a great